going to start into section 7.2, looking at similar figures and some of the key components in this section. So when we look at similar figures, we're talking about that they're the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. And the two important characteristics that we need to remember is that corresponding sides are proportional and corresponding angles are congruent. So if we look at our first example here, example A, it asks us what else do we need to know to determine if COLT is similar to BEAR. And if we start by looking at if the sides are proportional, if we start with the smallest side here, that's 20, and the smallest side here, that's 10, and we look at the proportion 20 over 10, that gives us 2 over 1. And then our next smallest one here would be 24 and 12. 24 to 12, 2. Now keep in mind, I'm going from bear to colt. I could go in the opposite direction, and so far my ratio would be 1/2 instead of 2. My next smallest one here is 32. So 32 and 16. And then of course the last one here is 40 and 20. And we can see that the sides are proportional, so that part is true. What we need to know now for us to be able to say that they are similar is we need to know that the corresponding angles are congruent. And based on the information here, we don't know anything about that. So that's our need. That's what we need to know. We need to know that the corresponding angles are congruent. So therefore, we cannot say that these two figures are similar. We had the sides, we didn't have the angles. That's what we needed. All right, if we look at example B, wants to know if these polygons are similar. So if we start by looking at the sides, we could see that we have 4.5 over 3. That's going to give us 1.5. And that we have 16.5 over 11. And that's going to give us 1.5. And what we actually have here are rectangles, so we know that the other two sides would also have that same ratio. So we have, when we go back and look up at our what we need to know, we already now have the corresponding sides. That part is good, that those are proportional. Let's go back, and if we look here, we can see that what we actually have are 4 right angles. And so we have that second part that we need to have, which is the corresponding angles are congruent. So therefore, we do have enough to be able to say that these polygons are similar. And then we have to watch to see how it was named. It started here with A and then went to N. And so we're going to do the similar thing over here. We're going to start with O and go to E. And then continue that pattern along S and H. So once again, we were able to say that those polygons were similar because we were able to look at the ratios and say that the sides were proportional, and we were given that the angles were congruent. All right, so let's take a look at example D. Example D, we are given ADFG, and I'm going to do this in color just so it helps me see. So ADFG. So that's what is in yellow. And then it is similar to, so we are told it is similar to HECB. So similar to HECB. And we are wanting to find AG. And so AG is over here. This is what we're wanting to find. This is our unknown. So let's start with what we do know and see if we could set up some type of a proportion to help us. So we are looking for AG. And so AG is AG. And by looking at this, we should be able to say that it is similar to HB. And so that AG is our X and HB is 8. And so we're going to use that, set that up to a proportion. And if we look at what's given to us, the other side that's given to us in the larger figure is the side AD. And so if we look at that, that's this side up here, AD. Right there. And if we look at that AD to HE, and if we look at where HE is located, that is right here. So our AD was 14, and the HE is 12. And so now I can solve this proportion to figure out what X is. And I'm just going to do that by cross multiplying. So cross multiply, I'm going to have that 12x is equal to 112. And if I divide that out, then x is going to equal approximately 9.3, which is what we were trying to find right here. And so this measurement here is approximately 9.3.